Welcome back. In the last video we took a deep dive into the Smiley code and figured out how these if statements work. Now we will recap this knowledge and also move on regarding to other instructions. And we directly start with our huge table over here. There we go. Okay, this one looks a little bit complicated. Let's discuss this. So what do we have here? We have our comparison, our if statement. And we got on the left the syntax and on the right the description. And in the middle, this is how you say this out loud. And if you do this, you will recognize or even know what this if statement does. For example, if you take a look at the last line, if less equals 0, means we are comparing Vx against the value 0 and we check if it's less than equal. Okay, to be honest, the last four I also look up sometimes because I'm not sure if the 0 is now included or not. Therefore, let's go to the first two. There we have if equal 0. So if Vx is equal 0, not equal 0, less than 0, and so on. It looks super dumb, but say this out loud if you're watching this, or maybe if you're alone in a room and keep practicing. So this will help you a lot in recognizing what this if statement does. Okay, if we are only having one register, the Vx register, we are comparing against 0, sometimes including, sometimes not. Alright? Okay. And afterwards there's this target, this label where we jump to. This is the true statement. Otherwise, if our statement is false, we move on in the code. But we will have a look into this also. Okay, here we have the instruction and say it out loud, then you realize or recognize what it does. And we have to read it in the following way. If v0 is greater equals 0, then we jump to condition 0. I know it looks dumb, but if you keep doing this, these if statements will be no problem for you. Okay, and this is what we get. If v0 greater equals 0, then jump to condition 0. All right. This is our, let's say, schema on this. We've got an if statement, then we've got the comparison, we've got our register, and we've got the two jump conditions. One is our condition, which is directly after this if statement, if the statement is true. And then we also got those GOTOs. And regarding to the GOTOs, please try to recognize this, that we've gotten GOTO in front of this and afterwards the label. If we are encountering only our colon and then this label, we can simply ignore or skip this function. If you do some smiley patching afterwards or later in this course, you will get through this or come over this GOTO label a lot. And in my case, I struggled a little bit after I just memorized, okay, we need to have a GOTO in front of this, otherwise it's just a jump instruction where we end here and we can ignore this. Alrighty. Next we've got two registers. So the tempo is increasing, you see this already. But this is absolutely the same as before. Instead of 0, we are having now two registers. So I mark this in this way. And we also keep the saying in the same way. So in this case, we are comparing, or in the first line, we are comparing if Vx is equals Vy. In the next one, we check if these are not equal, less than, greater equal, and so on. So if we are having two registers, we are comparing against another register, not the value 0. Okay, the register can have the value 0, but nevertheless, it would be compared against this register. Okay, let's see how we would say this out loud. So let's go. We've got if, then we've got v0, and now we get back to the condition. Once again, exactly the same. So I guess I should stop talking during this. And let's do it once again. If v0 is greater than v1, we jump to this condition. Okay, so if we are having two registers, we do it in this way. And this will give us the following statement, and this is correct. So if v0 is greater than v1, we jump to this condition. Otherwise, we go on or we move on in our code. And maybe there's a GOTO label, or maybe the function is returning in there. We do not have, or it's not required to have a GOTO label. This is also important to keep in mind. All right, there we go, exactly the same. If this time we do not have the value 0, therefore we only having equal, not equal, less or greater. and yeah, our registers and the conditions where we jump to. So yeah, these are exactly the same, beside the fact that we are having another register and not comparing against the value 0. All right, last time it was a little bit messy. Let's see if this approach is easier for you to handle. So let's see. We've got our method collision. It's returning void, and on the left side we've got the Java code. So we've got a local register. We do not know if it's a variable or a placeholder for a value. In the first line we can see, in the line 38 we can see we are getting, we are fetching this object, this.lives, and putting it into v0. Then we make our comparison. So say this out loud. If v0 is greater equals 0, we jump to condition 0. Condition 0 is over here, so we skip this part, this code underneath, until we get to this condition. Then we are adding a -1, which means we are subtracting a value, so pretty ridiculous, but never mind. And then we are putting this value back again into our lives. So we are subtracting 1 from our lives. Okay, this is our true statement. In case it's a false statement, we are moving on until we hit this GOTO label, and then we move on to the GOTO label. By the way, at the first time I forgot to mention that we skipped this GOTO in line 56. But yeah, you should be familiar with this. All right? Okay, and let's do the comparison regarding to the code on the left. Interesting. Our if statement is different. We are comparing if this lives is less than 0. But on the right in our Smiley code, we have a condition vice versa. We talked about this in the video, and again, we have it the same way right now. Then we can see our v0 is going to be initialized with 1, and this 1 is going to be put or referenced with the variable named loose. So we are putting 1 into our loose, which is from type boolean. This means loose is equals true at this line over here. Okay, this is our blue part. All right, and these are our two cases. The first one, if our if statement above is true, we are subtracting 1 life from our player.lives and we return out. We skip this GOTO and return out. And if our statement in line 40 is false, then we move on and we set our variable name loose to the value true. And yeah, that's it. Afterwards, we go to this label and return out of this function. All right. If we do this on the Smiley part, we can see this over here. This is what it looks like. And we can see once again, the Smiley part is different regarding to the Java part. And it's also what's Android telling us or reminding us. Therefore, do not stick to the Java code regarding to if statements. Have a look at this, but these might be different in the Smiley part. And the Smiley part is the one that matters, because this is the one that's getting executed and the one we can patch. Okay? Therefore, try to understand the if statement first and then try to apply your patch. And do not try guessing with line numbers or things like this. I tried this and it didn't go that well. So you will lose a lot of time and you get a little bit frustrating. Therefore, try to do a clean reverse engineering approach on the if statement you want to patch. Then you're good to go and you will lose less time. All right? Okay, next we want to keep practicing, because this is the most important part if you want to learn Smiley. Therefore, I extend our code in our Java app and I will provide this afterwards to you. We do not look up the source code of the Java part because this might be even more confusing regarding to if statements. We do our approach once again on the Smiley part, and by doing this we will also recap all the stuff. We will introduce maybe new if statements we haven't seen right now, at least in the table, and things like this. So we keep practicing, and by doing this over and over again, you will become a Smiley master after this chapter. Believe me, you will be able to read and write fancy, nice Smiley code. Okay, the practicing part will be in the next video, and this was some kind of spoiler for this. Therefore, I'm looking forward to see you there.